Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something that can feel, well, super complex, project schedule management. But trust me, by the end of this, we're going to turn it into your new superpower. Okay, let's start with a feeling I'm pretty sure we've all had. You know the one. You're on a project and it just never ends, right? Every deadline you meet just seems to create two more. And that finish line, it feels like it's actively running away from you. And this right here, this is the classic trap, isn't it? We start out so optimistic. We create this beautiful, perfect plan where everything works out. But then reality hits. And let's be honest, reality is messy. It's this huge gap between our perfect plan and the messy reality where projects just completely fall apart. So the big question is, how do we bridge that gap? Well, that's exactly where project schedule management comes into play. And I want you to think of it as more than just a plan on paper. No, this is your strategy. It's your defense system for making sure the project actually finishes when you said it would. Yeah, exactly. It's the blueprint that brings order out of chaos. It gives you predictability and, most importantly, control over your timeline. And look, this isn't about being super rigid and inflexible. It's about being prepared, being in command, and knowing what's coming. All right, so to really get a handle on this, we first need to learn the language. Every project schedule has its own vocabulary. And once you get these core terms down, building a solid plan becomes so much easier. First up, we've got activities. Super simple. Just think of these as the individual bricks you need to build your house. They're the actual tangible tasks that need to get done, right? Stuff like design the logo or write the first chapter. Next, you have milestones. And listen, this is a really important distinction. Milestones are not tasks. You don't work on a milestone. Think of them as checkpoints in a video game or a race. They're moments in time that mark a major achievement, like first draft complete or prototype approved. They have zero duration. They're just markers. And then, maybe the most crucial piece of the puzzle, dependencies. This is just the relationship between tasks. It's the logic that says what has to happen before something else can start. I mean, it's common sense, right? You can't put the roof on a house until the walls are up. This simple idea is literally the backbone of your entire schedule. Okay, so now that we have the building blocks, activities, milestones, and dependencies, let's get to the fun part. How do we actually put them together to build a real schedule? This is where a random list of to-dos transforms into an actual, actionable plan. And it's a pretty straightforward process, really. First, you just list out all the activities, everything you need to do. Then you put them in the right order using those dependencies we just talked about. And finally, you take your best guess at how long each individual task is going to take. Okay, so once you've laid all this out, this is where the magic happens. You start to see that not all paths through your project are the same. Some sequences of tasks have a little bit of wiggle room, a little slack, as they call it. But there's always one path that has absolutely zero wiggle room. And that one path, well, it changes everything. So what you're looking at here is a super simplified version of what's called a network diagram. Each line represents a different path of connected tasks you could follow to get from the start to the finish. And next to each path, you can see how long that particular sequence of tasks will take. And you'll notice one path is the longest. It takes 31 days. Now, you might be thinking, why does that matter if there are faster ways? Well, it matters because the whole project isn't done until every single path is done. So that longest path sets the pace for the entire project. And that longest path, that has a special name. It's called the critical path. And it's critical for a reason. It's the one sequence of tasks with absolutely no slack, no buffer, nothing. Think of it as the project's main artery. Any delay on this path, even one single day, will delay your entire project's finish date. As a project manager, this is where you live. This is what you watch like a hawk. So you did it. You built your schedule, you identified the critical path. Awesome. But here's the thing. A plan is totally useless if you just make it and then toss it in a drawer. Now comes the hard part, the active part, actually controlling the schedule. And the key thing to remember is that this is not a one-and-done activity. It's a constant loop. You have to track how you're doing against the plan, then you update the schedule with what's actually happening, and then you deal with whatever changes or problems are coming your way. It's a living, breathing process. Now, thankfully, you're not expected to do all of this with a calculator and a giant whiteboard anymore. I mean, you could, but why would you? There are some amazing, powerful tools out there designed specifically to handle all this complexity for you. You've probably heard of some of the big ones, like Microsoft Project, Jira, or Trello. They each have their own strengths, you know? MS Project is kind of the heavyweight champion for really big, complex projects. Jira is basically the standard for software teams working in an agile way. And Trello, it's just fantastic for visual, straightforward team collaboration. It's all about picking the right tool for your specific job. One of the classic visuals you'll see in a lot of these tools is the good old Gantt chart. It's that timeline view with all the horizontal bars. It's just a fantastic way to see the whole project at a glance. What's happening, when it's happening, and how all the pieces connect to each other. On the other hand, you've got something like a Kanban board. Instead of focusing on a strict timeline, this is all about visualizing your workflow. You have these columns like to do, doing, and done, and you physically move tasks across the board. It's brilliant for focusing the team and keeping things flowing smoothly. Okay, so let's wrap this up by talking about the elephant in the room, shall we? And that is, no project ever goes exactly to plan. Ever. And that's why the real skill here isn't just about making a beautiful plan. The real skill is about how you manage that plan when reality decides to throw a curveball. And you're almost always going to run into the same big challenges. First, there's just the unknown, unexpected problems and risks. Second, you never have enough people or money. You're always juggling resources. And third, you have to keep everyone, your boss, your client, your team, in the loop and happy. That's a job in itself. So how do you fight back? Well, the advice is simple, but it's absolutely solid. First, be realistic when you plan. Don't be over-optimistic. Second, monitor your progress relentlessly. Know where you stand at all times. Third, over-communicate. You can't talk to your stakeholders enough. And finally, think about what could go wrong before it goes wrong. Be proactive about risk. And that really brings us to the final and I think most important takeaway. Your project schedule, it's a map. It's not a script. A script tells you exactly what to say and do. A map just shows you the destination and the best route to get there. It can't tell you about the traffic jam or the unexpected detour up ahead. The true test of a great project manager isn't how well they draw the map. It's how well they drive the car when the road gets rough.